What's up, witches? Good morning. What's up? Is it early enough for you? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Let me pin a comment. Good morning, Betty. How are you? How did you guys sleep? Did any of you work on your vision board last night? Good morning. I'm just pinning a comment to the top of the chat, or putting a comment in the chat rather, so folks know what's going on. What's up, everybody? So when you come into the room, mind your manners. Say what's up, witches, in the chat. Let us know you're here. And tell me where you are from and what time it is right now. Is it 8 a.m. where you are as well? I'm in the Bronx, New York, so it's 8 a.m. But let me know. Good morning, Valentonia. Okay, while you drop in the chat where you guys are tuning in from and what time it is there, I'm going to grab our vision board from last night. And also maybe like some orange. I'm going to show you in a second. Okay. Okay, what's up, witches? Toronto, Canada. It's the same time there. It's 8:04 where you are, Jeanette. You're in New York. Miami, Florida. It's 8 a.m. You're in Miami, Valentonia? I thought you were in California. Okay. What's up? What's up? Is it all Coven folks in here? I was wondering if that was going to be the case. That is teaching me a lot about like how I'm going to be doing things going forward. Last night we worked on our vision board together. We went live just for Coven. And then after it was over, I made the video public so people can rewatch it if they want to. And we'll be doing things that way a lot more. I think that BetterWitch podcast episodes, the full episodes, will still just be public videos, but I'm starting to feel like most things are going to just be Coven only videos, since it's usually just Coven folks that actually tune in anyway. And then the videos can be made public afterwards. Last night we voted. I put it up for a vote to see how people felt about it, and it was exactly split right down the middle. A quarter of people said no, keep it private. A quarter of people said yes, just make them public. And then 50% of people said it didn't really make a difference to them. So if Coven people feel comfortable with lives and stuff like that being shared publicly after we're done, then I'll probably do that. Witches of Color support group meetings, of course, will never be recorded and shared, and book club meetings will still be shared only for seeker level members. But yeah, like if I go live to do stuff, I think it'll just be us, and then I'll make it public. Yeah, I think that sits better in my spirit. So I feel like the people who actually care and engage, like, get what they need, and then YouTube can still get what it needs. Watching The Woman King. Yes, got to prepare for Wakanda Forever. I feel you there. People tell you you're too honest and you talk too much. Well, but you don't give a fuck though. I think that's what matters, right? What if you agree? That's one thing. If you disagree, that's another thing. If you agree and you don't care, that's another thing entirely. I think it's probably harder to not be yourself, you know? It might be hard to be yourself because maybe yourself is a lot to other people, but trying to not be that is probably harder for you. So you got to do what's right for you. But yeah, so yesterday we had a lot of fun. We did something that I called high tea, which I think I will be calling high tea from now on, which was just a live to like hang out. We had some tea. We enjoyed some herbs together. We had some high tea. And we happened to be working on our vision boards last night. But in the future, we might be talking. I might be just doing Q&As. We might just be hanging out, or I might be crafting something witchy, things like that. So I'm looking forward to doing more high teas with the Coven folks, and people who are not Coven folks can tune into them afterwards, can watch the replay and all that stuff. I really want to encourage you guys, if you were not there last night for making our vision boards, that you do check it out since the video is public. This is mine. Okay, I won't get into all of the details because this is for me to manifest, but I'm very excited about how it came out. I've learned a few things in the vision board making process over the years, and I talk all about, last night I talked all about like the process for making a vision board, because if you are like, yeah, I want to make a vision board, and your plan is to just like sit down and suddenly make one, I think you're going to be a little frustrated, and it's going to be harder for it to become something that you really do regularly, because unless you have like the perfect selection of magazines right at your disposal that have exactly the pictures and words that capture the vibe of what you're trying to accomplish for the year, or what you want to manifest for the year, and all of that stuff, you're going to sit down to make it and be like searching for images and things that represent what you're trying to manifest, and that could be frustrating and complicated. So in the video, I won't rehash it here, but in High Tea live last night, I talked about like my process of making a vision board, which usually starts it's kind of happening all year long, but it usually starts seriously a couple of weeks before Samhain, where I start getting myself prepared and getting all the images that I need. So when I'm ready, I can just sit down with my glue and my tape and my board and all that, and just make it, as opposed to trying to think about it and create it in the moment. So I definitely recommend you check that video out. Hi, Royalty Earnings. Good morning. Oh, thank you. Do I have any suggestions on starting a YouTube page? Not really. Just get started. Just get started. You happen to come into, and this is the live today, so um, maybe we'll do a brief Q&A at the end if we have time. But just get started. I was just talking about things that I have learned, that I'm going to do differently with the videos this year. And in case you didn't catch it when I was saying it, most live videos, including probably like this live, in the future are going to be just Coven access only at the time that they're happening. And then I'll post them to the public after they are done. But I have just been noticing that Coven members tend to show up for everything and tune into everything and all of that stuff. And so Coven members and my shop really are the two things in my life that just need all of my energy and deserve all of my energy. And that's where all of my energy should be focused. And then posting things on Instagram, posting things publicly for YouTube views, that stuff will come later. And I love all of you. But there's like 16,000 subscribers on this channel, and there's like 11 people in any given live or what have you, which is great. And there's like another few hundred that watch the videos, which is great. But those people need to be my focus, I realize. And, the other 15,000 folks that just like linger around can catch stuff when it's available. So I just have to eliminate the like having a YouTube page, having an Instagram page, all of these things are fantastic, but do recognize that every single subscriber and every single follower is an energy sucker. It's like somebody putting a straw in you every time someone subscribes. That's another person who's taking from you, and more often than not pouring anything back into what you do. And that could be financially, or it can be just energetically, like they subscribe but don't really watch anything, or they like stuff but don't really show up to things, like, or they'll comment and say, yeah, I want you to make a video about that, but then never watch it when you post it. So you have a lot of that, people taking, because that's the nature of the platform, not a lot of giving. As you get to know yourself better and your audience better, you'll have a better understanding of how much it is you have to give, how much you want to give, and to whom exactly. So I've had this YouTube channel now for 3 years, and I'm still feeling that out. So don't try to have it all figured out at the beginning, because you won't. You're going to change your mind. You're going to change your channel name. This channel is now called BronxWitch Coven. You may not have noticed. So you'll change your channel name, and things will change. So I say just get started. And thank you, Royalty Earnings. Thank you so much. Showing love, for constantly showing up for us. Thank you. Thank you, Betty. Yes, cheers. I hope you guys all have a cup of tea, coffee, something warm and cozy this morning. Thank you, guys. What's the goal for the chat? Okay, so last week the goal for the chat was to get me a little camera with a light on it, which I now have. Check that out. Yeah, isn't that great? Okay, I'm gonna put it on the lower setting because I don't want to blind anybody. So I have this little camera, and I think I'm like a little bit torn between what to get next, but we'll see how it goes. I just put something in the way. You guys can see me still. I want to get okay, well, my main goal, like the big goal, is I would like to actually get an account on this restreaming thing that I'm using that gives us this beautiful background in the chat and like all of that stuff, you'll probably notice that there's a Restream logo over here up in the top, and the backgrounds and stuff like that are just the ones that they allow. The music is just what they allow, all that good stuff. Let me turn on some music actually. But if I get like an account, then I can get rid of that, and I can do custom backgrounds and all that. That's a monthly subscription, so that's kind of like a bigger goal where like just when there's monthly, like enough coven members and stuff like that, then I'll be able to do that. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to get a stand for this camera, because I think I can do a double camera view so that you guys can see the cards on one side of the screen and see me on the other side of the screen. No Sade, because I don't have a subscription, so I have to just play the music that Restream allows. But if I had a subscription, I think I could upload my own music. Maybe. I probably still can't play something like Sade because it's copywritten, so it wouldn't be a problem for the streaming service probably, but it would be a problem for YouTube. They wouldn't allow it on a monetized video anyway. So probably not Sade, but I can get close. I play a lot of like lo-fi beats and stuff that is copyright free, which I could play, but with that. So that's like the big goal. Yeah, that's the big goal. And then the short-term goal is, I think the microphone is okay and sound is okay. So I don't think I need a microphone, but it would be cool to have a stand that I could put this light on or this camera on, so it could be angled like down at the cards, so you can see the cards while I am, talking and like pulling them. Would you like that, to be able to see them? Because right now they're down here, so I have to hold them up. But if I had a, camera facing this way, then you could see them laid out in front of me. You're my sweetest Yahoo. That's cute. What's up, Shara? What's up? When you come in the room, make sure to mind your manners and say what's up, witches. Let us know where you are tuning in from, because I'm curious if it's 8 o'clock where everybody is. It's 8:19 here in New York. So where are you from? If you haven't said already, and what time is it where you are? And if this is your first time here, this is the live collective tarot reading. We call this Tea and Tarot. We've done this for a few years now, and it's taken different forms. It was weekly for a while, then it was like bi-weekly, then it went away, then it came back. So now it's been back for a little while. We gather around every new moon and every full moon to pull cards and ask Spirit for a message for the collective. If you're not used to tuning into collective messages, the important thing to keep in mind there is that the message is for the general energy. So we're reading the energy of the energy. And so you're going to want to take what resonates for you and leave anything that doesn't for the next person. Some of the message will be for you. Maybe all of the message will be for you, but some of it may not be. And I encourage you not to force it. If it feels like the message is not resonating, it has nothing to do with you, you don't feel particularly tapped into that energy or see that showing up in your life, then that is okay. Just sit back, enjoy. If the message does resonate for you, then I encourage you to leave a super chat, or if you're watching this video on replay, a super thanks on this video to help support these videos and keep them happening live. Okay, royalties in the DMV. Yes, I lived in DC for like 2 years. Welcome, you're in the Netherlands? Hey, that is so cool, Dana. What are you doing in the Netherlands? Are you working out there? That's awesome. Is there a spell for bullies? I'm sure there is. I'm sorry to hear that he's being bullied. Sabrina, I'm in Virginia, and good morning again. Yes, it's 8:20 here, Southern California. Hi, Shara, you're in Southern California. It's 5:20. Wow, you're up early. And it's 2:21 in the afternoon in the Netherlands. Okay, wow, cool. Shout out to you, Shara, for getting up so early. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. My husband and I visited Turkey for like his 40th birthday, kind of slash our anniversary. It was just like a big trip we took. And we would totally do the same thing. If either one of us had a reason to go there to work, we would just use that as an excuse and move because we really loved it. So I know how you feel. All right. That is so, so cool. Yay! Okay, before we get into the reading, welcome everyone who's just coming into the room. Familiarize yourself here. I want to just remind you guys again about the vision board thing. If you did not tune in last night to our high tea hangout session where we worked on my vision board and I talked about making vision boards and how to do them and all of that stuff, I definitely recommend that you check it out. I really want you guys, like, for those of you who follow me, I really am trying to stress to you the importance of actually doing the things that we talk about, because that's really my mission. That's my mission with BetterWitch. That's my mission with HQ, is to help all of you guys who are just interested in witchy things, like to read lots of witchy books and tune into videos and things like that, but you know that you are not witching in your real lives. I want you to get over that hurdle and start doing that, okay? Because it's become very clear to me that a lot of you that tune in to my videos are not actually doing any of these things in real life. It's something that you do because you're interested in the aesthetic, or it feels cool to tell your friends, or, you know, whatever it is that you are doing. But I want you to understand that magic is real, that witchcraft is real, that spirits are real, and that you are just touching the iceberg if all you're doing is just reading about it and thinking about it. It's time to start doing and getting out there and actually witching in your lives. And that does not mean that you have to open a shop and do spells for other people and do readings for people, or like cure your family members of their diseases, or like any of that stuff. Your practice doesn't have to be anything huge or complicated. It doesn't have to take over all of your life. But if you are just reading stuff and watching stuff, kind of lusting after the life of a witch and not actually getting there, I want to help you to get over that hurdle and actually get there. And one of the best ways that you can do that is to actually do the things that I teach you about and do the things that I offer. I can't tell you how many times now I have done like maybe 5 different online classes, and I cannot tell you how weird it is that I will get so many registrants for the online class. Like when I did the intro to meditation workshop, the hour-and-a-half workshop, I think 35 people registered for it. And then when it came time for class, 5 people or 6 people, maybe 8 at the most, were actually in the room for the class. And then because I can see, because I make all of my classes available through YouTube, I can see how many people who got the video replay emailed to them actually went back and watched the class. And it was probably another 8 people, you know? So it's like, you guys are paying for classes, you're buying books, you're spending money, you're putting out all this money, basically, mostly, not really energy. You're putting out really just like money, your own hard-earned money, just to not actually take these things seriously. And that is a head scratcher for me. That's very confusing to me. I like taking classes whenever I have the chance on my craft, and growing as a being. So whenever I get the opportunity to educate myself, I do. And so the idea of paying money to take a class, in some aspect of spirituality or magic, and then not showing up for it and never watching the replay, it's just like, what does that accomplish? Like, you guys tell me, because you're the ones doing it. But maybe you can explain to me where that comes from. Is it that you sign up and like scheduling just gets in the way and it's just not important enough that you ever get back around to it? Or like, did you know you were capped from the beginning when you bought the class that you weren't going to take it, but it just made you feel like something? Or are you doing it just because you like want to show support and you don't really have a genuine interest in the topic? You just want to like buy something that I am putting out there. I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it, because for me, it's not enough to just read about witchcraft. It's something I do and want to do better. And it seems like you guys do too, like the general public does too. So the behavior from some kind of, it confuses me. So maybe folks can shed some light on it. Either way, don't do that. Don't do that. Stop buying the books and taking paying for the classes and doing all that stuff, and then not actually like learning these things and incorporating them into your own practice, or more importantly, just exploring why they could be in your own practice, developing your own practice, really, first and foremost, because I think a lot of us are not even at that point where they really feel like they have a practice, and that's okay. But are you aiming to get there? Is that like, do you have a goal in mind of where you want to be? Do you want to be able to confidently say, I am a witch, I can divine, I can receive messages from spirit, I can change the energy for people, I can heal people in non-conventional ways? Like, do you actually want that? Or are you just, interested in the aesthetic and the vibe, and like maybe want to dress a certain way or go to like certain types of events? That's cool too. But if you are serious, then please know that at some point you've got to stop just buying the things and start doing with the things that you are buying. So please do watch the vision board video. Make yourself a vision board. Not because I said so. So, check in with yourself, ask yourself, like, why does Allie think a vision board is helpful? Why did it work for her? Why would I want to incorporate that into my life? Why would that work for me? Always ask yourself the why, and do things not because some other witch did it or because they told you to, but because it sits right with you. But a vision board is a very low maintenance / no maintenance way to manifest things in your life. And when there's nothing more effective, I think, as a learning tool than success. There's nothing more effective than results. Okay, so if you do something magical and you get results, that is all that matters. How you did it, how somebody else does it, all of that stuff doesn't really matter. The proof is in the pudding, right? So I encourage you to make a vision board, not only because it's going to help you manifest things throughout the year, but it's also going to help you to get that confidence that this is real, that manifesting is actually a legitimate thing. It's not just a word that people throw around, but you absolutely can make something out of nothing. You can create something in your life that all previous years of your life indicated were not possible. You absolutely can do that. And you do that by tapping into the vibration of having that thing. And a vision board helps you with that. It helps to set the mood. It's a mood board, basically, for how you want to feel around a certain issue or multiple issues. And by looking at that board, even if you don't do it on purpose, I promise you, I have put my vision board away and not looked at it and still had many of the things that were on it come to be, just because anytime I would touch it or just move it to the side or something, it was like a reminder of that vibe and keeping me in that space of, wow, it's so great to have these things. It feels so good. It feels so comfortable. It feels so energizing. It feels so healthy, whatever the feeling is. And that keeps you open for those things to happen. So I encourage you to do that. Do the stuff. Okay? Yes. Can you see me as a familial figure? Sure. Sure. Okay, Sharaz sending some baneful work out there. Okay, proceed with caution, dear. Yes, good. I'm glad you have lots of pointers. Yeah, because trust, the whole just like, oh, sit down and make a vision board. The first time I made mine, it seemed like it would be like so easy to just be like, oh, yeah, like no problem. And then I was like, wait, these magazines don't have the pictures I need. Like, wait, no, that like I can't find things. So a process is good. Valentonia is asking about sex magic and a personal question about birth controls and stuff. And I definitely think that type of a question would be more appropriate for either a personal one-on-one question, or you can hold on to it and maybe bring it up during the live Q&A after Sophie St. Thomas's episode of the Better Witch podcast. We're going to have Sophie on next week to talk about her book, Sex Magic, and to talk about sex magic in general. So if you have sex magic questions, I would definitely encourage you to tune into that episode and stick around for the live Q&A after. And perhaps Sophie will have some pointers there. I'm definitely not a sex magic expert. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Jeanette wants to live a magical life every day. Yeah. I have been able to experience the healing aspect through Reiki healing. Yeah. So Reiki, any type of energy healing is really wonderful because it is another way. First of all, it's just wonderful. It's just a type of healing, and healing is wonderful. But it is really helpful to have experiences that help you to connect with the energetic world and the spirit world, whatever that is. So whether it's making a vision board, getting a Reiki healing session, learning how to tarot read, invoking your ancestors and calling them in, and having like a mediumship session, etc. Any of the things that you can do, and you can do this with another person or you can do it with yourself. Yeah, any of those things that you can do to help you have the experience. Because at the end of the day, there's a huge difference between believing and knowing something, and I am not a fan at all of believing something. I am trying to undo and get rid of all the beliefs that I have, because beliefs are just things that we admit that we don't know, that we have decided to be super convicted about anyway. Like to the point where we're willing to go to war or kill people or take away their rights or hate them or whatever. And that is so dumb. So dumb. I would like to get rid of every single belief I have ever established and replace it with knowledge. To either know something or not know it and admit that I don't know it and go on that beautiful journey of seeking and learning. And knowing something is not reading it in a book. At best, reading something in a book is just being informed of what somebody else knows. And that's at best. That's assuming that what they put in the book isn't just a repeat of something that they read in a book. Hopefully, what they're writing in the book is actually something that they have experienced. And that is something that you know. And you're not going to know magic. You're not going to know spirit. You're not going to know that energy manipulation is real. You're not going to know that any of these things that we talk about are real if you are just believing them. That's not how it works. You have to experience them. So you've got to put yourself in situations where you can actually experience the paranormal, actually experience healing without traditional medicine, experience a message coming through that nobody could know, experience feeling the presence of an ancestor in your room. Like, these are things that people can write about all day, and you can read all the books and watch all the videos and have other people talk about their experiences, but you are not going to know it until you experience it yourself. And that means you've got to do. You've got to put yourself in situations where you can experience these things. You want to experience spirit activity? What are you doing to do that? Are you holding seances for yourself? Are you holding mediumship sessions? Are you setting up an altar to call a spirit into your space? Are you invoking them? You don't know how to do that? Okay. Are you learning how? Are there people out there like me who have plenty of information for how to do these things? Yes. Are you availing yourself of this information and then taking it and doing something with it? Or are you just sitting there saying, like, I wish I had spirits in my place. I wish I knew this to be true. I wish I saw this thing. I wish I could do this. I wish I could cast spells. I wish I could cleanse my home energetically. I wish I could be absolutely certain that I'm divinely protected when I leave my home, and just wishing for these things. I think we do a lot of like reading and then wishing, watching videos and then wishing. And like, you absolutely have the control to go beyond wishing and actually having these things be experiences that you have by putting yourself out there, going to the event, going to rituals, holding rituals for yourself, attempting to cast spells, attempting to write spells, attempting to conjure spirits, attempting to connect with spirits in your plants, in the herbs that you grow, etc., etc. All of these things are a part of being a magical life. Yeah, April. Good, you'll tune into the sex magic thing. Yeah. So Jeanette, like, living a magical life every day looks not like casting spells every day or holding elaborate rituals every day. It looks like waking up every day and saying a prayer of gratitude, because you recognize that this body and this mind are on loan to your spirit, and you have been given one more day where you get to have this body and this mind and do all types of crazy, amazing things that it's capable of doing. Living a magical life every day might mean talking to your plants and recognizing that each one of them has a spirit, each one of them has an energy that is just like the spirit energy that you contain. And so if you walk into a room, you would want people to address you and say hello, right? So realizing that those beings are living beings and treating them as such is living magically every single day. Right? Living a magical life every day in a lot of ways looks like any other life. What's different is the knowing. What's very, very different is the knowing. It's super helpful and fun to see things, to see symbols, to see things happen and be like, oh, thank you, Spirit. I know that's a message from you. And not be like, I wonder, should I get a reading from Allie? Like, being able to know and be like, yes, I know this spirit is with me. I know my spirit guide. Tonight we'll be talking about spirit guides with Courtney Taylor. I know my spirit guides. I can identify them. I know when they're in the room. I can feel them. I can smell them. I can hear them. Knowing these things, it's life changing. It really, really is. And I can understand wanting to live a magical life every day. I do too. And you can get there. But you've got to stop just like pretending, basically. You know, you've got to say, I'm going to put myself into this, give myself these experiences, and see for myself whether or not I feel like this is real. I'm going to see for myself whether or not I have experiences that make me say this is real. I had a private reading on Saturday with someone who walked into the shop, and it was amazing, amazing, amazing. This person lives in the building. They have popped into the shop like once or twice before, but I didn't even remember their name. So I did not know anything about this person. And a lot of times my readings are with folks that I sort of know, because it'll be you guys coming to me for readings. It'll be folks from Instagram, friends of friends, and things like that. And it's not necessarily super often that I'm reading someone that I've never really met before and don't know anything about. Her name is Lisa. She came in to the shop and was just like, I don't know. My friend got a tarot reading the other day. My sister told me she got a tarot reading, and I just feel like the signs are telling me that I should get one too. But I literally have never had one except for one on the beach 20 years ago on like vacation, and it was just like for fun, and it wasn't very serious. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And it was just incredible. Her grandmother came through. I was able to see in the cards that she had a spirit with her that had been with her during her communion or something as a kid. And I was like, did you go to church as a child, or were you baptized as a kid, maybe in a Catholic church? Whoever was with you during that ceremony is with you now. And she was like, oh my gosh, my grandmother was with me when I was given my like communion, whatever the Catholic communion is. And I just put a picture of her up on my wall like 2 days ago. And I was like, okay, that's the ancestor that wants to come through. I was able to tell her that she's working on a writing project, which she didn't mention to me at all. Turns out she's writing a screenplay, and she's thinking about leaving her job, and she wants to work on the screenplay. And her grandma was like, work on the screenplay, fuck this job. And she was like, oh my God. And then one of the cards, I was using the Rachel True deck. One of the cards, the High Priestess card, came up in the reverse for her. And I had never noticed that on that card, on the very bottom, real small under the High Priestess's foot, is a little key, a little old school key. And I said to her, I don't know why they have me paying attention to this key, but maybe there's a key in your screenplay, or maybe there's a key in your life that is important. And she was kind of looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I don't know. The message is a key. They have me focusing on this key. I've never seen it before. And I wear a key around my neck every day, as a part of the collection of protection amulets that I wear. And I held it up and I said, it's a key like this. It's like an old type of key. And she goes, oh my God, I was thinking of this when you were saying it, but I wasn't sure. She goes, I have an old school key like that, that's on a red string, that we got when we went on vacation in Maui. And I love it, but I don't really wear it anymore. I was like, wear that key. Wear that key when you go to work and you're having this conflict. Grandma's with you. She's helping you, blah, 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 blah. But like, what? I don't know this woman from a can of paint. How could I know that her grandmother's coming forward, that she's doing work with her grandmother? How could I know that she was working on a writing project? She didn't mention anything about that. How could I know that she had a key in her life that was of significance that she should start wearing again? And I didn't know those things, and I don't know them now, but Spirit knew them and used me as a voice, as a talking piece. And that, I know that comes from somewhere. That's not me reading in a book and having to just believe and have faith that, oh, our ancestors are out there and they're talking to us, and I just believe this. Like, no, I know that shit. Like, I live it. It happens. Messages that could not come from my brain, are coming through for people. So it's amazing, and it's life changing to know these things as opposed to just reading them and believing them. So this is a long rant, but I just feel really passionate about it, that I want you guys to go beyond that point of reading books, watching videos, and wishing that you believed wishing that it was real. You can know magic. You can know it. You can know it. But you guys got to start showing up for yourselves and taking it seriously. Stop buying books and not reading them, or reading them and not doing what's in them. Actually doing the exercises. Stop buying classes that you don't show up for and taking. Like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. It's not helping. All right. If you want an all-around reading that touched on everything, what would one book? For something like that, you might want to book maybe a 45-minute reading. That's the longest amount of time of a reading you can have. Because in a timed reading with me, you can ask as many questions and we can talk about as many topics as we can fit into the 45 minutes. So that would probably be the best option for you. Yes, we all hold that magic. We all are God. We all are one with the universe's energy, with the energy that is the universe. And we can do wild ass shit that, like, you believe that you can't because you're a human and we're limited, but there is existence beyond us that is capable of things, and that will show you that you are capable of things that you could never have imagined. If I don't know my indigenous ancestors, but I want to call them into my space regularly, but not sure if I don't know them, how can I invite them in without specific info about them? So that is an in-depth question that I can definitely answer, but I have been rambling for 45 minutes. So I do want to get to the reading. So you know what I'll do? I am going to start a Q&A. Okay. So there is now a Q&A box at the top of the chat, and you can drop your questions in there, and then that way when I'm done with the reading, if I have time, I can explore some of these more in-depth questions. And I'm glad that you bring that up, Betty, because I very much want to teach an ancestor honoring class. I want to teach an ancestor honoring class for you guys. But here's the deal. I don't want 30 of you to register and then 2 of you show up during the class. Because y'all be capped. So if I'm going to teach an ancestor class, then I expect you to register, show up. I don't really have to worry about you, Betty. I'll be honest. You'll be there. Register, show up, and then turn around and do the things that we talk about in the class. Not because I said to do them, but because you asked yourself why you need that in your life. And then you went and acted accordingly. Sign you up, Jeanette? All right. See, now, Jeanette, you have a leg up because I have been feeling a little disheartened by my online classes, because I tell you, like, I appreciate it. I'm happy for you guys to pay for stuff, but I do not like that you pay for stuff and then don't actually utilize it and incorporate it into your life. Like, I don't want to see that for you guys. I don't want you guys wasting money just to be like, I signed up for a witchy thing, and then it makes no difference in your life. Like, that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe. So I have been contemplating like only teaching classes in person at HQ and not bothering with the online, because I think the online classes make it even easier for people to not take it seriously and to just kind of like sign up and then forget about it. But I do know that there's so many people that would be interested in this topic. So I have to figure out what I want to do with that. We touched on it when I was in your shop, and I've experienced some interesting things. Oh, yes, I remember that chat. We were talking about what was going on. Yes, I bet. Thank you, JB. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Shara would be interested as well. Okay. We shall see. We shall see. So I don't know if you guys can see the Q&A box, but it's up at the top of the chat above the super cute BronxWitch Coven sweatshirt that I want to get. So your super chats might also contribute to me getting that sweatshirt so we can rep our coven. And I'll think about that class. But yeah, if you have other questions, like your question, Betty, that was a good one, drop them in the Q&A box. And then once we're done with the reading, if we have time, I will grab a couple questions and answer them for you. I don't know, Valentonia, that's a question for TSA. They come in 2-ounce bottles. All right. So we are gathering here today to that for the full moon, which is right now, the full moon that we are experiencing in Taurus. Let me just double check so I didn't take notes this morning. Okay, so November 8th today, election day. The full moon took place this morning, and we had a lunar eclipse between 5:17 a.m. and 6:42 a.m. Eastern. So I don't know if anyone got a chance to go out and try to see that. But we have experienced a total lunar eclipse, which is very exciting. 8:50 a.m. is with the, what's going on here? So totality took place between 5:17 and 6:42 a.m. Eastern, with the partial and penumbral phases of the eclipse continuing until 8:50 a.m. Eastern, which is right now. Yes. Hey. So this moon is called the Beaver Moon. It's called the Morning Moon. It goes by many different names in many different folk traditions. It is a full moon, kind of like any other, but the total lunar eclipse definitely adds a different energy to the full moon. Typically, when we have a full moon, folks talk about this being a good time to express gratitude first and foremost, because whatever you may have put into the ground as a seed over the new moon at this point is starting to maybe peek up through the surface of the soil, or you're starting to see signs of it coming to be, and it's important to express gratitude right away. I have been learning that with some of my spell work and some of the spirits that I go to. They want thank yous immediately. Like, do not wait. The moment you see what you asked for starting to be, they're like, give it up. So expressing gratitude immediately can be so important. It also puts you into the right mindset of having the thing you want versus having a lack mindset of not having the thing you want. So expressing gratitude even before the sprout has actually shown up above the surface is a great thing to do on the full moon. The full moon is also a great time for clearings, especially head washes. Levatets is what they call it in voodoo, but it's a very important part of the spiritual maintenance in that tradition, and that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. Head washes are super, super, super helpful. If you are feeling confused, if you feel bogged down, even if you're having like headaches and stuff like that, a head wash can do wonders for you. I did one this past new moon. Usually I just fast on the new moon, but I felt called to do a head wash, and I'll be doing another one for this full moon. So that's a great thing for you to do. But when we have an eclipse, for me, it is not a time to be casting anything. So sometimes the full moon is also used as a time to cast because it does shed light on situations that may have been cloudy or unclear. If you are working with a spirit that relates to the moon or relates to the night, it might feel like the most auspicious time to do that work would be under the full moon. If you are invoking a goddess, invoking a feminine spirit, etc., all of these times might be, all these things might be great to do on the full moon, typically. But we have an eclipse. And when there is an eclipse, I would say keep your spell casting and maybe even rituals to a minimum. And I would focus more on resetting, recharging yourself, and someone said rededicating themselves to their craft. That this is like a perfect time to do things like that, because the eclipse, for me, it's like pulling the plug out of the alarm clock. So there's no energy really flowing the way it's supposed to be. And then when you plug things back in, you need to take a second to reset the clock and put it back to the right time and all of that stuff. And that's what eclipses are like. During that downtime where the clock is unplugged, that's a good time for you to take care of things that you don't need to be seen by lots of people, that you don't need to be on the forefront. Go inward, take time for yourself, tidy things up, clean things up, reorganize, restructure, and then start fresh once the eclipse has passed. So that is what I would do. So the vision board really is like a great thing to do for the full moon eclipse. And being that it is in the sign of Taurus, which relates to our home, our comforts, our physical pleasures and indulgences, it would be a great idea to work on your vision board today and tomorrow. Don't worry about spell casting, but reorganize yourself. Take a look at all that you have to be grateful for, all that you manifested or all that transpired in 2022. And then start turning your attention to laying out the vision of what 2023 is going to be like. I'm actually really glad that this turn of the wheel of the year happens to fall right on what they call eclipse season, right in the middle of two eclipses. I think that's great. Great energy for restarting and really lining things up. And now I understand why the 9 of Cups came out while I was shuffling, because this is literally that exact energy. This is about addressing the comforts of your home and your spaces that you spend the most time in, and evaluating how comfortable am I there? Do I have all of my ducks in a row? Am I prepared for next year? What do I want to have on this table next year? The table behind this gentleman in the 9 of Cups is your vision board. Get your cups together. What do you want them to look like? What do you want them to be filled with? What feelings are you going to get from them when they come to pass? And put them out on the table and prepare yourself for those things to come to be. Make way for them to come to be. Okay, so that is confirmation for me that making your vision board is a great activity to do for this full moon lunar eclipse. You were thinking about making pre-made washes with different herbs ready for me whenever I need it. That's a great idea. Preparing yourself for the year ahead. So if you have a goal for 2023 to become a certain type of person or have a certain type of spiritual practice, that is a great first step. Not casting any spells yet or doing any elaborate rituals, just preparing the washes and preparing the herbs. Yes, I love that. That really hit with this move I'm doing, clearing my old space for my new. Yep. I would definitely spend this time cleaning house, packing things up into clearly labeled bins and boxes, and not just focusing on clearing up your current space, but organizing the things that you have in your space for how they're going to be laid out in your new space. So maybe there's stuff that's in your bedroom now that in your new space is going to go into the living room. pack that up for the living room. Pack that up with the living room stuff. Put a picture of a magazine cutout of what you want your living room to look like and what it's going to look like when you put all that stuff in there. Create the vision for yourself. All right. We have been rambling. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. I think I'm going to use the season cards as an oracle deck. And Mahogany Tarot as my tarot deck. I have the Archangel cards, but they're not really calling to me right now. Taking off my socks so my feet can feel the floor. Be grounded. Okay, yeah, for sure. Going inward, reflection. This is very interesting here. We have both the Two of Cups and the Six of Cups coming up in reverse. And we have the Feather card as our Demon Oracle message card. So with the Feather, this is a very common sign from Spirit. They tend to communicate with us in birds a lot. This relates to the element of air, which is all about change and changing directions. Birds are able to change directions on a dime in midair with no problem, and they will change the direction of their flight. They will change where they are based on the temperature. They will get up and fly to warmer areas. They will migrate and change. So this season, this couple of weeks, this full moon energy is very much about change for a lot of us. The air of change, the winds of change that are blowing through your life. I know already that some of you are moving and physically changing your location. Some of you may be contemplating or getting ready to change jobs. There's a lot of reference here to relationships. So I think quite a few of you are changing the nature of relationships that you have with people who you've been close with potentially for long periods of time, or that you at least you've known for long periods of time, or you have really deep relationships with. So there is a very strong energy of changing things up, changing the direction of things. And it's interesting that this lines up with the Nine of Cups that came out as well. So this has a lot to do with our home environment and our home spaces. Okay, so changing your physical home or changing the layout in your home, how things are. I feel like some of you feel like you don't have sacred space. You don't have space for like an altar. You don't have space for magic. And that is a limitation, or you tell yourself that that's a limitation. And this is like, no, that's not the problem. You need to move things around and you need to be willing to change things up. So you might have to change how your space is laid out or change your own schedule, how you go about your day in order to incorporate time into your life for these new things. But there's a very heavy wind of change blowing through a lot of your lives right now. For many of you, it is relationship wise. We have both the Two of Cups and the Six of Cups coming up in the reverse here. So it feels like there initially may have been some type of discord or falling out, disagreements, things that just made it really difficult for you to see eye to eye with someone who you would prefer to see eye to eye with, that you would prefer to have like a calm, comfortable, peaceful existence with. And for whatever reason that was not happening. It doesn't feel super argumentative. It doesn't feel really violent. Like there's no like Five of Swords here, Five of Wands, to indicate that it's like really terrible or anything. It's just you coming to the realization that you are no longer compatible with somebody or somebodies in your life. Romantic is very prevalent here with the Six of Cups falling behind. It's like it's kind of like childhood romance, so it definitely feels very like long lasting type of romance. But for those of you who are not in a relationship and don't resonate with it on a romance end, this could be family members, co-workers, friends that you've just had for a really long time, or even just a part of yourself that has been battling. Sometimes our inner child and our higher selves kind of get into a back and forth. Sometimes our rational mind versus our emotions kind of get into a tug of war. So this can be a spiritual relationship with yourself or a spiritual relationship with someone else as well. So 25 or 26 of you in here, take what resonates. But I do feel like for a lot of you, it's more romantic, more people living in your house, boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses, things like that. And that discord has brought us to the Six of Cups, where it's like a feeling of letting go of all of that nostalgia and letting go of all of those like, oh, we've been together for so long or such and such, or we've had all of these memories and experiences, like don't we want to revisit them? And in the reverse, it's like, no, it's time to stop going over the cycle of clinging on to things that we used to have, especially in like the emotional side of things. Like there's a desire, it feels like, for a lot of you to want to rekindle or hold on to the fuzzy feelings that once were, that once was. And this is not the time for that. This is the time for severing things, letting things go, letting things end, so that the winds of change can blow through and usher in all of the new things that in reality is what you really want. The stuff that you are holding on to and clinging on to, you don't actually want. You're just afraid to let them go. That's a very big difference between wanting something and just being afraid of not having it. Those are not the same. And this is saying you've got to let go of the things that you're afraid of not having, so that the things that you genuinely want can blow into your life. Okay, so that's where we are right now. We are at a place of change, reevaluating, letting go of relationships that have proven themselves to no longer really be healthy. Health is a factor here. So this relationship is no longer healthy for you. It might actually be causing health problems. I don't usually focus on that part of the card. So it might actually be causing you health problems. You might be suffering from anxiety or migraines or like stomach issues and stuff because of the stress and the pressure of this relationship coming to an end. And Spirit is saying you can feel so much better if you go ahead and let that wind blow through and let it just blow away all this other stuff. Like, just let it go. I see like strings in the wind. Like, just let it go and let it float away. Like, trust that it's going to be okay. More amazing things are going to come right after that if you can let it go. And that is indicated here by the Eight of Wands, which is a clear indication of lots of momentum, lots of motivation, lots of passion and drive in multiple directions, kind of literally just like flying at you as soon as you are able to let go of what you are holding on to. So interesting how in these cards, everybody is holding on to these cups. I don't know if you guys can see that, but everybody's hands, it's like tug of war with the cups. Tug of war with the cups. Everybody's got their hands on these cups, and it's like, oh, I don't want to let this go. I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I'm so used to it. But Spirit is like, dude, you are going to have so many cups. So many cups. Your cups overfloweth. You are going to have so many cups. There's going to be so much energy and new stuff coming at you, new opportunities, new loves, new relationships that are just literally going to be landing at your doorstep, and you're going to be able to take what you want and put it on your board of, line it up with the vision that you have created on your vision board of what you want for the year. All of those things, it's like they're waiting at the door. They want to come in, and you are holding it shut by holding on to these cups, and being like, oh, I don't want to let go of this like one thing that I've got that gives me comfort and gives me peace and that I'm familiar with or that I'm used to or supports me in some way, etc., etc. When you're able to let that go and say, you know what, I trust, I have faith, I am not operating out of a place of fear or lack. I know that I'm going to have everything that I need, that I'm going to have more than I need. More importantly, I'm going to have the space in my life to actually have the things and do the things that I want. I know that is going to be my reality if I can just let it go and let this feather float away, let the winds of change blow through and bring in new energy. This is all new energy. This is abundant energy. This is personally crafted energy too. Like the Eight of Wands is kind of lacks direction and vision a little bit. It's just the momentum of just go, 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 go. But the Nine of Cups comes in to give it a little bit of structure. It's not just wildness being thrown in your direction necessarily. You can really tailor how these opportunities and new things come into your life by creating a clear vision for yourself, getting comfortable, getting your space comfortable, cleaning things you don't need out, laying everything out in a way that reflects what it is you want, so you have space for that. So what do I mean by that? If you are trying to manifest a new job as a freelance writer, a writer who doesn't have to go and clock in, you get to work remotely from home and all of that stuff. Okay, do you have a writing area in your apartment? Do you have a desk and a space and printer and internet and like all that stuff? Do you have a space that you can dedicate to writing for 6 or 7 hours a day? If you don't, then how is that going to flow into your life? If that's your vision, start making the arrangements for that to be something that happens to you. What about your lifestyle? Is your lifestyle conducive to that? Do you have noisy neighbors that are noisy all day long, or guests that show, your friends tend to show up at your apartment unannounced when you're at home and interrupt you, and you haven't set up boundaries to let people know, hey, from 12 to 6 I write. You cannot bother me, you cannot call me, I don't answer the phones during that time. Social media. Maybe you spend countless hours online with social media. That's an issue for me. You spend a lot of time online with social media and you are losing hours of the day to doing that could be used for writing. So maybe you want to put some limits on your phone that turn off your social media or set an alarm so that you don't go over a certain amount of time. So that's what I mean by making space for the opportunities that you want. But when you don't have a clear vision of what those things are that you want, then it is very unclear what you should be doing to prepare for it, right? So if you just generally think to yourself like, oh, I hate my job and I just don't want to work in it anymore. Okay, that's fine. But what is the vision for what you do want? What do you want? If you don't know that you truly want to work a freelance writing job, then how do you make plans for that? How do you open up avenues for that? How do you tell the universe that that's what you want if you don't even know that that's what you want? So the vision board activity that we did last night is so crucial because it's not just that it gives you a visual representation of the vibe of what you're calling in. It's great for that. That's like its major function. But a side perk to making the vision board is it allows you to actually figure out what it is that you want. What do I want? What kind of job do I want? What type of lifestyle do I want? What type of environment do I want? What type of relationships do I want? For those of you who are struggling to let go of relationships that are not what you want, but that you're afraid to let go of, if you sit down and ask yourself, what do I want in a relationship? And put that on your vision board. That is going to help you to let go of the relationship that doesn't match that vision. And any relationship that doesn't match that vision. And when you let that go, the winds of change come in to usher in all of this newness, all of this forward momentum, all of this energy. It's not going to take a long time whatsoever for these things to manifest. It's literally feeling like it's just waiting for this to be let go. And then it's just a matter of, are you ready for all this new stuff, all this new opportunity, all these new relationships, all this newness? Do you have a clear vision of what you want? So when the energy starts moving in that direction, you know where to put everything. It's like moving into a new apartment. If you just buy a bunch of furniture with no concept of where everything is going to go and how you want it laid out, it can be really an overwhelming mess, right? All the furniture gets delivered on the same day and now you just have piles and piles of stuff in the middle of your house and it's like, oh my God, I don't even know where to begin. But if you know we're going gold and green in this room, we're going purple in that room, this is going to be the working space, this is going to be the spiritual space, this is going to be the kitchen stuff. When everything starts coming in, you're like, boom, 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 boom. Go here, go here, go here. You just delegate it and send the direction where it needs to go. And there's no overwhelming feeling. There's no chaos that ensues. Everything just lines up and just stacks up on top of each other the way it's supposed to be. Valentina said, it's been so long, he's all I know, but damn, why is it spicy, right? That's a little meme, right? Why is it spicy? I've been picking up on your references, Valentina. Yes. Why is it spicy? Yeah, and Miss K was sharing, that's where I'm at. I'm a freelance writer holding on to my job because it's a good job and it's safe. But I have the savings and I even have freelance clients. Hey. Ooh, oh, that's perfect, Miss K. There's a lot of hustle involved in freelancing. So partially I'm afraid of not being able to keep up the momentum. My job gives me a reliable source of income. Absolutely, absolutely. Great example. I'm going to use you as an example if you don't mind. So with this card spread, the message that's coming through with these cards, what this is saying is, ask yourself, is the job that you're at really what you want? Because what it feels like from here is, despite the comfort that it gives you, and the reliable source of income that it gives you, there is a misalignment here that you feel very strongly. There is something about this job that you know is not what you really want. It may have been at a certain time in your life. It may have been perfect, but it is no longer perfect. And it has some perks like reliable income, but you know that it's not the place for you. It doesn't give you the ability to expand, to be free, to really create the projects that you want to work on, to do the things that you really care about, to even run your own schedule and things like that the way that you would want to. And so you've got to ask yourself, do I really want this? Because it feels like not so much. And then the next step is, okay, if this isn't what I want, what do I want? Nine of Cups says, sit down and come up with what do you want. You might benefit from a vision board. You might benefit from maybe just like a list. What are the things that you genuinely want in a job? Not what you will tolerate, what you've accepted, etc. If you could craft your dream position, what would it be like? Would it be freelance? Not based on your fears about freelance, right? Because you have fears about freelance that are not existent. Those fears are completely irrational. You haven't done it, so there's no reason to be afraid of what it would be like. You've seen other people and you've made assumptions about what they have to do in order to do it, and you're assuming that you would have to do that. But that's not necessarily the case. Freelancing does not mean hustling all the time, working your ass off necessarily. You could have a freelance position and work on one project, and it could pay enough for you to be set for the year. Right? Don't plenty of freelancers do that? It's not about being a freelancer. It's about the type of project that you get as a freelancer, right? But a freelancer could literally have one project for the whole year and be totally paid off of that. Right? You could be a freelance writer. You could get given in advance by a publishing house to write a book. Get paid up front to sit at home and write that book and not have to hustle anybody. Maybe not even have to take your other clients. Right? So let's not come into it with like misconceptions or fears about what it is. Let's just make the list about what you want from your dream job. If freelance is it, then freelance is it. What does that mean? You want freedom of your schedule. You want to control the projects that you work on. You want to control how many clients you take. You want to have a reliable source of income despite not working for someone, et cetera, et cetera. So what do you want to be able to have a certain amount of time off for vacations, or to be able to work remotely on the road, travel and write, et cetera, et cetera. I have to laugh at myself. I did get a contract to write a book and got a really good advance, and I'm still holding on to my job. This gay. We were going to just get private readings today. Okay. So, hello. Freelance does not have to mean struggle butter. Okay. It does not have to mean the hustle life, right? Freelance gives you the freedom that you are looking for. And if that's what you really, truly want, and you have to be honest with yourself, maybe you don't really want that freedom. Maybe you don't really want that freedom. Maybe that is not desirable to you genuinely, and you say things that you want because it sounds right or it sounds good. Sometimes we say stuff and the truth of the matter is actually I do want my 9 to 5. I do want that reliable income. I don't want to have to pick my own projects. I don't want to have to motivate myself and make my own schedule. I don't want to have discipline and commitment and sacrifice in order to stay on top of my projects. I would much rather clock in and have somebody else tell me to work for the next 8 hours. We have to be honest with ourselves about that. It may sound good to be your own boss or et cetera, but if you really look at it, you might realize, actually, I don't want that at all. There are just certain things about my current job that I don't like. So my focus needs to be on fixing those things, either by finding a different job or by going to somebody at this job and saying, hey, I need a raise, I need a corner office, I need more time off, what have you. Or, nope, the truth is, I truly want to be freelance. I don't want to be working for somebody else. So what does that look like? So 9 of Cups says, sit down, spend time thinking about what this looks like. And there's an aspect of comfort that comes up with this card. Because one thing that people will often notice about where the merchant in the Nine of Cups is sitting is he's sitting on what looks like either a stone or wooden bench. It's not comfortable per se. It's a place to sit for sure. It's sturdy, it's reliable, it's not going to fall. You got it, but it's not really comfortable. Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's fine with you. But maybe you want a different experience. That's going to be something you have to figure out. I definitely think a vision board would help you with that, or some type of a list to outline exactly what it is that I want from my professional life. What do I want from that part of my life? And then when you create that, then you have to ask yourself, does it line up with where I am? Is what I want reflected in where I am? And if the answer is yes, then you're cool. And then maybe there are just some small changes in there that need to be made. But if these don't line up, please know that Spirit is telling you that by letting go of this, you are going to usher in all of this newness, all of this momentum, all of these opportunities, clients, money, etc. And the benefit of having laid it out for yourself ahead of time is when all of that starts flooding in, you don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to hustle to a point where you can't breathe, you can't sleep, you don't have a schedule, people are calling you all times a day, you can't eat, you can't travel, you can't. No, you laid out exactly what you want this to look like. So when the opportunities and the energy start flowing, you put things exactly where they need to be. You mentioned that you don't want to have to like hustle as a freelancer. Like you don't want to have to be searching for clients and like constantly trying to make sure that you've got new clients coming in so that work doesn't dry up. Okay, no problem. If that's what you want, then maybe there's some type of a structure you can put in place so that that doesn't happen. Maybe you put your clients on a retainer where they pay you a certain amount of money upfront for the year and they have access to you during certain times. Or maybe you create a really get yourself a good, a Calendly or a good appointment scheduler so that you can have specific work hours for working on certain things. Maybe you designate a business phone line for yourself. Don't use your cell phone. Maybe you get a landline phone for your home that is for business, and that's the number that goes on your business cards and your website and all of that stuff so that you can unplug it at the end of the evening when you want to be done. Things like that, right? Rather than blocking the blessings from coming into your life, take stock of exactly how you want those blessings to show up and create the containers for them to go into. So when they start flowing in, you've already got them, a space for them prepared. So they're not just everywhere. Like the analogy I made with the furniture in the house. If you already know, this is where I'm putting this is where I'm putting that, that's where that's going to go. When it comes, you can immediately put it there as opposed to having it all be dumped on your front yard. And now you're like, oh my God, I got to scramble and get the furniture in before it rains. Oh. If you know exactly, blue boxes go over there, purple boxes go over there, red boxes go over there. And when all that stuff starts coming in, it won't overwhelm you. You'll be ready for it. Okay, you'll be ready for it. Yeah, it's all fear. It is all fear. And you got to, you got to ask yourself if you're okay with that. Are you okay with that? You have the self-awareness. You have enough self-awareness to see that the decisions you're making are based on fear, that staying in this is based on fear. You already know that where you are is not really in alignment. So are you okay with that? Are you okay with living your life out of fear? At some point, you have to decide for yourself, like, if you're okay with that. If you are, then you are. But if you're not, you are totally in control here. Totally in control here. And a thing about fear, an important thing, this card really reflects that too. I love the Eight of Wands because it doesn't show you where the wands are going at all. And the reason for that is because the future does not exist. Okay? The future does not exist. I have been trying to repeat that to myself a lot lately when I get into that space. The future does not exist. We make a lot of decisions, I think, based on a future reality that we tell ourselves is a certainty. If I don't stay at this job, then this is going to happen. If I don't do this, if I leave this relationship, then this is going to happen. If I move now, then this is going to happen. And it's like, says who? That doesn't exist. None of those things exist. None of those outcomes exist yet. The only thing that exists is right now. And then right now. And then right now. And then right now. And then right now. The previous clap is gone. It no longer exists. And the one that comes after may never happen. So to base your life where you are right now on something that doesn't exist, it's not even like a magical thing. That's just not very sensible. You are here in the present right now. Your attention and your focus and your energy needs to be on right now. Right now, you are in a place where you are unhappy, you are not aligned, you are not getting what you want. That's it. Right now, are you ready to not be in that place anymore? This energy and momentum that comes flooding in, there is no other part of the card. There's no direction for these wands to be flying because there isn't one yet. It hasn't been written. It hasn't been created. What all this opportunity is going to look like in your life, what having a bunch of freelance clients looks like, what not having a job with a regular clock-in hour looks like, all of that, what it looks like is not yet determined. You get to determine that. So having freelance work could look like chaos if you let it. But there isn't some magical future world where you are a freelance writer and your life is chaos. That doesn't exist. You could make it exist by not preparing yourself and organizing yourself so that you can handle all those clients, or so that you have a way to get the money from them up front or on a regular basis so that you don't have to rely on hustling for new ones or whatever the case may be. But that's totally within your control, and it all is based on what you're doing right now. I heard someone say, I'm going to totally butcher it. I think I made my own version of it along the way too. So now I don't remember if this was my idea or something that I read. But someone said something basically like, you cannot have oranges in the future if you have apples now. This idea that you have apples now and like magically in the future it will be oranges is not reality. If you want to have oranges, you are going to need to do something with these apples right now to make oranges. You know, you're gonna have to plant an orange tree, you're gonna find one, whatever. You can't sit in what you are right now and expect to be something different in the future. The future is right now. It's the only time that really exists. So right now, what are you doing at this very moment that is in alignment with your future versus in alignment with this past / current present situation? And it sounds like you might be making a lot of decisions based on this. And that's not where you want to be. So figure out where you want to be. Spend some time really like visioning what that looks like. And if you don't want to be hustling and you don't want to be stressed out, then don't include hustling and being stressed out as a part of your vision. And it won't be. When you make your list or your vision board, I want to be a freelance writer. I want to have a schedule to myself. I want to have 5 to 10 set clients that come back to me regularly for work, so I don't have to be looking for new clients all the time. I want to have a payment structure where people pay me upfront, so I know that my income is guaranteed even before I start the project. What does that mean? Okay, so that means I need to draft a contract that stipulates that from the beginning. Start living now for this future vision that you have, as opposed to living now for this past stuff that you don't even want anymore. Okay? Spend your weekends preparing for the life that you want, not escaping from the life that you have. So if your job is shitty, where you live is shitty, the relationship that you're in is shitty, and shitty might be a harsh word, but and you don't want it anymore, when you have some downtime, rather than escaping from this reality that you're in, work on the reality you want to craft. Work on your vision board. Make your clarity of lists of what it is that you want, and start making the changes. Let the winds of change blow through your life, blow through your space, and start making changes that bring you closer to this rather than keeping you in this. Thanks, Sharad. Thanks for being here. Thank you so much, Valentonia. Thank you. Yes, if the message resonated with you today, I think it definitely did for you, Miss K. But if it resonated for anybody else, please do send some energy back to me with a super chat, or if you're watching this video on a replay, with a super thanks. Okay, it makes a big difference. We are working on some new equipment and maybe some new features for these lives. So your contributions through Super Chat and Super Thanks are helping me to get that. We got a light. Our next step is probably going to be some type of a tripod so we can do a dual view of the cards and me. Lots of cool, fun stuff that we can add. So thank you for your support. All right. Brought up so many important points that align with the thoughts that have been coming up. Time for realignment. Yes. I definitely think, Miss K, if you sit down and work on a vision board, and it doesn't have to be for your whole life. It can just be around the job issue. So it can be like a small little thing or whatever, but make a list for yourself. Like, what do I want from my ideal work environment? And it might help to find some pictures online, on Pinterest, on Google, or in magazines or something that give you that energy and give you that vibe. And then you can go ahead and create a little picture of it in your mind and remind yourself as you go through the year to be doing things that align with that, whether they're in your physical space or in your life and how you live it. Bring yourself in alignment with the things you want rather than the things you're kind of trying to get away from. Oh, thank you, Miss K. I am so glad. I am so glad. Yes. I always feel like, I know that those who need to be present for readings will be in the readings. So I am glad that you got this message that you needed today. All right. So I'm going to get out of here soon, but at the beginning of the live, folks were saying that they had some questions. I don't see anything in the Q&A box. So if you had any questions, I could take one or two real quick. Thank you, Spirit, for the messages, for the clarity, for the guidance. You did? You put one in the box? Where did it go? Oh, hold on. Let me see. I have to switch to a different view. Oh, okay. There are questions. Oh, shoot. Yeah. All right. Let me see. Okay. So Betty said, if I don't know my indigenous ancestors, but I want to call them into my space regularly, but not sure if I don't know them. How can I invite them in without specific info about them? Okay, so my question for you, Betty, is whether or not you have an ancestral practice already. Have you contacted any ancestor before? Have you had any ancestor come into your space? Have you felt their energy with you? Have you been able to call them in, or a spirit guide even? If you have not called in any type of a spirit entity that you know with confidence that in fact you contacted the right entity, that's who showed up, that's the energy that you were interacting with, then I would start there rather than trying to call in ancestors that you can't identify. I would start with someone that you can. So I would start with a grandparent, an uncle, even perhaps a friend, though it's nice to start with family. I just feel like they're even easier to identify and more receptive, but that's just in my life. That might not be the case for you. So I would start there. I would not rush. I know you were trying to connect to your indigenous ancestors. I have an ancestor space already and I do chat with them. Okay, but do you have a one? Is what I mean. You might have set up an ancestor space already and you might generally go there and talk with them instead. But do you actually, can you say, Bob is here right now? I feel Bob's energy around me. I felt Bob just touch me. I smell his cologne. Okay, because when we start our ancestral relationships, we usually start out very generally, which is nice, but it doesn't really do much for having specific interactions with people. So what we want to do is to get to a point where we have a specific interaction with an ancestor who can do all of the introductions for us. I wouldn't call on spirits that I can't identify. I don't know their names. I don't know anything about them. I wouldn't be able to identify them if they came into my space versus some other spirit that was just attracted to my altar. I wouldn't, if you wouldn't be able to do that, then I would say let's not go to trying to call in spirits that we can't identify. And instead, let's focus on building a strong relationship with a spirit that you can very clearly identify, because that ancestor will help you make all of your other arrangements. For me, that was my grandfather. My grandfather, Robbie. That's probably why I thought of the name Bob, because some of his friends called him Bob. But my grandfather is somebody that I could identify. I was alive while he was alive. I know what he smells like. I know what his energy is like, what his vibe is like. So when he actually showed himself to me and like materialized as an energy bubble in front of me, I knew that I was experiencing him. And from him, he has made the introductions to other ancestors that I am getting to know on the other side. Okay? So from your ancestor space, I would start making your practice with them more specific, and try to call on a specific ancestor that you have good feelings about, that you had a good relationship with, about, that you feel fairly certain is in a good space on the other side and will be more of a help than a hindrance. I would start there, and they will make those introductions to you, and then you can be certain that you are protected by them as you call on other ancestors whose names you don't know. Okay? Hope that helps. Let me know. Okay, I'm trying to, it doesn't let me scroll. Hold on. Okay, Shara, you love asking for spells and work and things like that. I find that so interesting. That is the type of thing that you can get from me in a consultation, perhaps. But you can also check out books like Sigil Witchery by Laura Tempest Zackroff. That is like considered one of like the best modern sigil books out there. And she certainly has plenty of protection sigils in the book. And if you're not able to get the book, then I suggest following her on Instagram because she also just posts a lot of her sigils. Another person who does great sigil work is Nicole of Blood Moon Bruja. I think it's like blood_moon_bruja on Instagram. She actually has a few different sigil PDFs, one for protection, one for like ancestor worship and different things. And they're very affordable, and you just download the PDF, you can print them out. But she has information for each sigil, as well as like how to charge them, how to activate them, and things like that. Okay. What do you use in a head wash? Great question, Jeanette. In a head wash, you want to just use clarifying, cleansing, very light and gentle ingredients. So you don't want to use the types of herbs that you would use in like an uncrossing or a banishment, breaking baths and things like that. You want to use things like salt, clear spring water, sweet and clarifying herbs like basil, sage. If you use oils, light oils like selenite oil is a good one. So very light things. Your head wash will probably not look as intense and deep and dark and stuff as like your spiritual washes, especially depending on what you're doing. The idea is just to clarify and clear. So my head washes usually just have a few leaves of my Siempre Vivum plant, which is really good for head washes, water, salt, and a splash of a Florida water. Small splash, and that's it. So it's clear. You might add coconut to that or cascarilla to that to make it more of a white head washing, but very clarifying, very light cleansing thing. The idea is to open up and lift the fog that is over you. After you're done giving yourself your head wash and saying your prayers, wrap your head up in something white or light colored and sit in meditation while it dries, and just allow those messages to come in and for anything that is being kind of dumped out to pour out. Okay. My spirit guides, I have noticed days before big life event reflections and mirrors will vibrate for just a few moments. How do your spirit guides connect with you? I noticed days before big life events, reflections and mirrors will vibrate. Oh, interesting. How do your spirit guides connect with you? That's more personal. What I will say is through certain signs and symbols. There are certain symbols and things that relate to them and our relationship. I will share one is three little birds is by my window singing sweet songs. When they want to let me know that a prayer has been heard, or that they are with me during a particular type of situation, I will see three birds, usually at my window, usually doves, which is interesting for here. We have tons of pigeons, not as many doves. So when I see three doves, three crows, etc., it's usually something for me to pay attention to. So I hope that answers your question. And if your questions are answered, you can always say thank you with a super chat. Does my boyfriend love me, and how will things evolve between us? Hi, Vidushi. I see you're trying so hard to get yourself a private reading. That's not what we're doing here. This is the live collective reading for the full moon in Taurus and this lunar eclipse. If you would like a private reading, please go to my website, bronxwitch.com, and book one with me. That sounds like the perfect type of question for a 15-minute reading. Easy peasy. Get right to it. I would love to know if Tejasphere loves you. So hit me up and we'll find out. Could I book a tarot reading with you but discuss a self-reading I had done prior to just get more knowledge and second opinion? Still pay though, of course, as I'm still. Yes, you absolutely can. You would want to get one of the timed readings of 15, 30, or 45 minutes. In those readings, we can talk about anything. We can, if you don't want me to read for you and you want to read for me, we can do that too. That's really your time to just have me at your disposal. So we can talk about anything you'd like. We can pull cards for as many things as you'd like, or we can talk about your card pulls. You can pull cards for me if that's something you want to do. You want to practice your readings. You can book a reading and be like, hey, I actually wanted to read for you. And we can do that too. So you would choose how much time you feel like you would like to spend with that. That's probably a 30-minute for you, so that you have time to kind of give me the backstory, talk all about what that the context of the cards, and then we can talk about how you interpreted it and things like that. Yes. It's my mother's birthday today. I use her as one of my spirit guides. Could I do a ritual or offering to honor her? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. This is a perfect example, Nat, of why I like to remind you guys about the why. Okay? Because a question like this, honestly, really isn't a question for me. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not a question for me or some other witch on the internet that has no relationship to you, your guides, your mother, or your life. This is a question for you. And rather than phrasing it as, could I do this for her? Your question should be, why? Why would I do this for her? It's interesting that you say you use your mom as one of your spirit guides. I don't know. If you were helping somebody out, would you want to hear them say, well, I use Nat to help me with these things? Like they just take from you and don't ever give? What's that about? Your mom is a guide and you just use her when it's useful? You don't already have a relationship with her where there's a give and take, even exchange? She's your guide on the other side. She's spending her afterlife watching over you and helping you. And you have to ask somebody if giving offerings of honor and doing rituals to honor her is a good idea. Nah. Come on now. But I think the reason why you haven't done it is because you are coming from a place of, could I do this? Should I do this? I'm going to wait until some other witch tells me that I should do this, and then I'll do it. As opposed to asking yourself and her the why questions. Why do you show up for me as a guide, Mom? Why are you helping me with this? You know? What would you like from me? Why? Ask yourself why more often, because you doing something to honor and reciprocate the love, protection, guidance that you get from your spirit guide, mother or not, is not something that some other practitioner should be telling you to do or not do. That is, that's like going to your friend and being like, tomorrow's my boyfriend's birthday. Should I get him a birthday gift? Why are you going to your friend about that? What difference does it make whether or not your friend would do that? Why are you living your life according to you? Ask yourself, why do I want to get a gift for this person? Why do I want to get them this particular thing? What's the nature of our relationship like? Do we do gifts? Does that fall in line with how we express our feelings to each other? Maybe your boyfriend's a Jehovah's Witness and doesn't celebrate birthdays. So what would it matter if Susie Q down the street gives birthday gifts to her boyfriend? Or if she thinks that you should? Your relationship with him tells you otherwise. He would be perhaps offended by that. Perhaps there's some other way that you can show him that he matters to you, or that you want to mark the passages of milestones in his life. That's a relationship. That's a question for your relationship and a conversation that the two of you have with each other. So if you have a relationship with your mother on the other side that is so clear that you know that she is acting as one of your spirit guides, then go to her with that question. And let me know if that answers it for you. Life with Grace, I think you just came in the room. I'm about to go full throttle with pursuing freelance work full time. What types of things can I do now to attract the magnitude and types of clients that I desire? Well, to get into the specific details about you and what you can do, that is something that would require a private reading. You can go to bronxwitch.com to set that up. A 30-minute or so would probably be enough time to explore that deeply. But you can also watch the high tea hangout that we had last night where we made vision boards, because a vision board could be helpful for you in terms of creating a clear picture of exactly what type of client you want, what type of work you want to be doing, so that you can start to manifest that for yourself. And in that video, I talk all about how to make a vision board, because it's not as easy as just sitting down with some scissors and some magazines. You want to do some pre-planning and go about it in a little bit of a methodical way. Otherwise, it can become an overwhelming art project that doesn't really accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So, Goddess, Vidushi, Nat, Life with Grace, let me know if I answered your questions. And if so, you can say thank you with a super chat, or if you're watching this on replay, with a super thanks. I very much appreciate it. And if we have a tripod next week for a dual view of the cards, it will be thanks to you guys. Yes, Betty. My mother's father is half indigenous, so that is where I start. There you go. Start working on the relationship with him. And we'll make the introductions to all the other family members on his side that are high vibrational, because not every ancestor needs to be worked with in that regard, but they all need to be prayed for. So. Oh, yes, Jeanette, I like that. Signs and symbols is a way that folks do. Yay! Hey, Nat, support her for 4 months. Yes. Good. Okay, good. I'm glad. Betty said, ever since you shared with me about the why, I ask myself that daily, and it really resonates with me. I got it. Thank you, Allie. I have to stay on the why. Yeah, I have found the why to be so helpful for me. Rather than what to do or should I be doing this, why? Why did that witch do it? Why did she say that I should be doing it? Why does this make sense for my life? And most of the time, these are questions that are really best answered by you, your higher self, your ancestors, your spirit guides, and all the spirits that work with you. 9 times out of 10, the answer to the why question is not something that some other person, me included, has. I can only tell you why something made sense for me and my life and my practice, or why it worked for me. That doesn't necessarily help you. It's good to hear. It gives you some idea, gives you some direction, but the reason that you do anything, the reason you put something on an altar, the reason you do a ritual, the reason you do a spell should not be because some other witch said that they did it. It should be because you asked yourself why and it worked. it resonates for you. Irene! Hello! Oh my goodness. I have been wondering about you. So good to see you. I'm just about to head out. But I am so glad you're here. I've been missing you in our lives and stuff. Yes. I hope you get a chance to rewatch the Vision Board High Tea last night. It was very fun to hang out with you guys and work on this project. We were live for 3 hours. So we covered a lot. Someone JB asked a really good question about the crossroads. So I have like a whole 15-minute chat here about working the crossroads, what it represents, what type of work can be done there, what type of spirits can be found there. So we got into a lot of stuff last night. Yes, I was thinking about Irene too. All right. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for tuning into this full moon live collective tarot reading. If you're just coming into the building, you can go back to the beginning and rewatch this. I don't know. I'm really strongly toying with the idea of making these accessible for Coven members only during the live and then airing them as a replay for everybody else. We did that with the high tea last night and it was really fun. It was nice to have a small, quiet, like kind of intimate space while we were working. And then now the video is available for people who want to go back and watch it. So I might be doing that. So just a heads up about that. When we get to the new moon, if the live isn't available to you, it might be because you're not a Coven member. And being a Coven member is very easy. You join right here from YouTube. You just subscribe to this channel, and then you will see the join button right on the BronxWitch Coven page, homepage. And there are 3 levels of membership, and the lowest level, not the lowest because they're all very special, but the least expensive option is the supporter level, which is only $2.99 a month. And with that, you get so much stuff, including discounts to my shop and lives, private live videos, private videos. You get access to our private Facebook group if you would like to connect with people and get to know people more, discounts on classes, all types of stuff. So consider joining us, and then you don't have to worry about whether or not these videos are public or not. Yes. So Coven Witches, get excited. The bonus content from this week's episode is already up. I posted it early so you guys can watch. We are talking to Courtney Taylor tonight at 7 o'clock for the episode 10 of the BetterWitch podcast. We're going to be talking about how to be a better medium witch. She is a psychic medium, and we're going to talk about exploring your mediumship abilities, getting in touch with spirits, getting in touch with spirit guides. And in the bonus content, we kind of went off on a tangent a little bit about like naming your spirit guides, how to know their names, how to give them names, etc. So I included that in the video just for Coven members, so a little behind the scenes action. And then the rest of the episode will air tonight at 7 p.m. It will air live, so if you want to pop in at 7 p.m., we'll be talking to each other in the chat. And then right after the episode, there is a live Q&A just for Coven members. So Courtney will be tuning in via Zoom, and that will be your opportunity to ask any questions about mediumship directly from her. So it's a whole full day of stuff. All right. I hope you guys aren't tired of me, because between yesterday and today, it's a lot of BronxWitch. I hope you like that. All right. So thanks so much for being here. It was my blessing and honor to give this message. Again, if it resonated with you, a super chat or a super thanks is the way to let me know that. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'll see some of you tonight. Like 24 hours worth. Love it. Okay, good. Bye, guys. Blessed be.